Ever had a moment you wished could last forever? A moment so perfect, so magical, that time itself should just stop. Well, for Lara and Liam, that wish came true in the most unexpected way. Our story begins in the heart of Ethelberg, a city famous for its magnificent clock tower, a colossal structure of brass and gears that hadn't missed a beat in 500 years. Legend said the tower was built by a sorcerer, and that it held the city's time in its steady, rhythmic hands. Ilara was a historian, fascinated by Ethelberg's myths. She spent her days buried in dusty archives, tracing the whispers of magic woven into the city's founding. Liam, on the other hand, was a clockmaker, a man of science and precision. He saw the tower not as a magical artifact, but as the pinnacle of mechanical engineering, a complex puzzle he longed to understand. They met, ironically, during a debate about the clock tower's origins. Ilara argued for magic, Liam for mechanics. Their arguments were fierce, but underneath the intellectual sparring, a different kind of spark ignited. Their connection grew with each passing day. They'd walk along the cobblestone streets, their conversations shifting from gears and spells to dreams and fears. Leon was captivated by Lara's passion for the unseen, the stories that lived between the lines of history. Ilara found herself drawn to Liam's grounded nature, the steady way he looked at the world, and the way his eyes lit up when he explained the intricate dance of a watch's escapement wheel. They were two halves of a whole, magic and logic, heart and mind. On the night of the city's centennial festival, the air was thick with anticipation. Fireworks were set to burst over the clock tower at the stroke of midnight. Liam, wanting to create an unforgettable moment, had managed to get special access to the bell. He led Ilara up the winding stone staircase, past colossal gears that hummed with a life of their own. As they stepped out onto the narrow balcony, the entire city of Ethelberg spread out below them, a tapestry of twinkling lights. The crowd in the square was a distant murmur. Up there, surrounded by the quiet, powerful machinery of time, they felt like the only two people in the world. The first warning chime for midnight rang out, a deep, resonant tone that vibrated through the stone beneath their feet. Liam turned to Ilara, his heart pounding a rhythm that rivaled the great clock itself. "Ilara," he began, his voice a little shaky, "from the moment I met you, my world has been different, brighter. You make me believe in things I can't see or measure." Ilara's eyes shimmered in the starlight. "And you, Liam," she whispered. "You ground me. You make the world feel real and safe." As the chimes continued to count down 10, 11, he leaned in. The crowd below began their countdown. 3, 2, 1. At the exact moment the 12th bell struck, their lips met. It was their first kiss. And that's when it happened. The world went silent. The final, booming clang of the bell hung in the air, but it didn't fade. The fireworks, which had just begun to streak into the sky, froze mid-explosion, their brilliant colors painted against the black canvas of the night. Below them, the cheering crowd was a silent, unmoving tableau. A bird, caught in mid-flight, hung suspended in the air. Time, for everyone and everything in Ethelberg, had stopped. For everyone except them. They pulled apart, their eyes wide with disbelief. "What? What just happened?" Ilara breathed, her hand flying to her mouth. Liam, the man of science, was speechless. He looked at the giant, motionless clock hands, fixed at exactly 12. He looked at the frozen fireworks. He looked back at Ilara. The logic he'd clung to his whole life shattered in an instant. The legend was real, and their kiss, a perfect union of belief and skepticism, had somehow triggered it. Panic was the first emotion. How could this be possible? They rushed down the stairs, finding the entire city locked in a single, silent moment. People were frozen, mid-laugh, mid-cheer, mid-step. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Days turned into a strange, timeless twilight. The sun and moon remained fixed in the sky. They were alone, the sole living souls in a city of statues. They could walk anywhere, do anything. They explored the grand halls of the mayor's mansion, had a picnic in the middle of the main street, and read priceless books from the library's restricted section. But the novelty soon wore off, replaced by a profound sense of loneliness. What good was forever if you were the only ones living it? The silence, once peaceful, became deafening. They missed the chatter of the market, the laughter of children, the simple, everyday rhythm of life. Their perfect moment had become their perfect prison. Liam, racked with guilt, became obsessed with the clock tower. He was convinced that, as a clockmaker, he could find a mechanical solution. He spent his time studying the frozen gears, searching for a jammed lever or a broken spring. Elara, meanwhile, returned to her books. She believed the answer wasn't in the gears, but in the magic, in the intent of the sorcerer who built the tower. She pored over ancient texts, searching for the counterspell, the magical key to restarting time. Their different approaches created a rift between them. Liam saw Elara's search for a magical solution as wishful thinking, while Elara felt Liam was ignoring the very power that had trapped them. The strain of their timeless existence began to wear on their relationship. The magic of their first kiss was fading, replaced by fear and frustration. One day, deep in the city archives, Elara found it. It wasn't a spell, but a story, a fable written in a faded, barely legible script. It told of the tower's creator, a sorcerer who had lost his love. In his grief, he had wanted to freeze the moment of their last goodbye forever. But he realized that a frozen moment, however perfect, is not life. Life is about movement, change, and shared experience. So, he built a failsafe into his creation. Time would only restart, the fable said, when those who stopped it willingly chose to let the moment go, to embrace the future, imperfections and all, together. She ran to the clock tower to find Liam, who was exhausted and defeated. He hadn't found a single mechanical flaw. Ad filed Elara showed him the text. It wasn't a flaw, Liam, she explained, her voice soft. It was a test. The magic isn't just in the tower, it's in us. It responded to our wish for a perfect, unending moment. They looked at each other, and in that shared glance, they understood. They'd been so focused on fixing the problem separately that they'd forgotten how they got there in the first place. Together, to restart time, they had to let go of their perfect moment. They had to choose the messy, unpredictable, and beautiful flow of a shared life over a single, static memory. Hand in hand, they climbed back to the belfry, back to the spot where it all began. Standing on the balcony, overlooking their silent city, they took a deep breath. It was a leap of faith. They had to trust not in magic or mechanics, but in each other. Are you ready? Liam asked. Elara squeezed his hand. With you. Always. They closed their eyes, and together they focused on a single thought. Let it go. They kissed again, not a desperate, magical first kiss, but a quiet, certain one. A kiss of acceptance, of promise, of choosing a future over a perfect past. And then they heard it. The soft, fading echo of the 12th bell. A gentle whoosh as the first firework finally completed its journey, bursting into a shower of gold. The distant roar of the crowd surged back to life. They opened their eyes. The bird was gone. The city below was moving, laughing, celebrating, completely unaware that for Elara and Liam, weeks had passed in the blink of an eye. The great clock hands began to tick forward once more. Time was moving again. They didn't stay to watch the rest of the fireworks. They walked down from the tower, hand in hand, melting back into the flow of the city. Their magical moment was over, but their real life, the one they would build together, second by second, minute by minute, was just beginning. And they could know with absolute certainty that it would be more wonderful than any frozen, perfect instant. It's a beautiful reminder that the most magical moments aren't the ones that stop time, but the ones that make us look forward to all the time to come. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tailies, just like this one. See you next time.